How's it going, ladies and gents? I figured while I was sitting here waiting for my transfer tank on my truck to fill up with diesel, I would give everybody a little update on the car. A lot has happened since my last video came out. It has a new motor in it, has a set of Hoosier slicks. They're not drag slicks, they're road course slicks, but it does have a set of slicks on it now. It hooks up a lot better. The old motor, I don't know if RPM killed it. I'm not sure what killed it. I put quite a few pistons in that motor. A lot of them I didn't get on video. Motor has been out of the car 4 times since the last time I videoed it. It has broke multiple pistons. It spun a rod bearing. I had another crank laying around that was in good condition. Put it in the motor, put a new rod in. Took it to the track twice. I think RPM killed it. It's got a high volume oil pump in it. I believe RPM killed it. Spun 2 rod bearings on that crank. Went to the U-Pull-It. Pulled a 100% stock 351 out of a van. Got pretty lucky. It was a Jasper remanufactured motor. Has great oil pressure, has 0 blow by, runs fantastic. I left the stock heads on it. I didn't even pull the heads off of it. I put my swap oil pan on it. I put my valve covers on it just for looks. And I put my intake on it so that my turbo kit could hook up to it easier. And it runs fantastic. I did put valve springs on the heads. I was hitting valve float with boost. Sitting valve float about 4,500 RPM. I put valve springs on it. Pulls to about 5,500 now and runs out of steam. The cam just, it's a stock truck cam. It can't handle it. But it is running fantastic. Lots of low end power, which I didn't have with the other motor, with it being a big cam, big head motor. I have a lot of bottom end now, but I have no top end. And it makes vacuum, which is nice. I haven't had power brakes on that car in a long time. I now have power brakes again because I have vacuum. Other motor made about 2 pounds of vacuum at idle. This one makes 8.5, 9 pounds of vacuum at idle, so it's a big difference. It's running good. Now I keep having transmission issues. I went from before the old motor could only stall the stall converter up to 3,600. Now this motor, I don't even know if it's the motor, to be honest. It's just the only thing that changed, and then it started doing it. The old motor stalled it to 36. This motor stalls it to 42. But times wise, I have put more boost to this motor and haven't ran what I was running with the old motor. So the old motor definitely made more power, lower boost. I'm gonna have to compensate with more boost for this motor or put my heads on it. I haven't decided yet. I want to build a 408, so I've pulled that old motor out. The cylinders and stuff are still in great condition, even though it's broke a couple of pistons, so that it never messes cylinders up. So I'm thinking about taking it to a machine shop. The only issue is it's already 30 over. I'm thinking about taking it 40 over, but it was an old marine motor. Don't know what the inside of the coolant jackets look like. I don't know how thin they got from salt water being run through it, because it came out of a saltwater boat. So I need to have it checked. I'm thinking about going 40 over. I want to build a 408 with that block, and then use the heads and cam in the 408. So I'm debating on whether or not I want to put the heads on this motor. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And then I've changed a lot of stuff. And suspension wise, it's got full solid upper and lower control arms in the rear. It's got a roll cage in it now. It's got a 5-point harness in it. I put a B&M hammer shifter in it. I keep burning up 3rd gear in my transmission, and I thought at first it was just clutches burning up. I thought that was just how much power the motor was making. But the last time I was at the track, I realized for the first time. Well, not the first time at the track. I had done it on the street before, but I never realized I had done it on the track. I went from first to third because I was using a stock shifter and they don't have lockouts between gears. And because I was spinning on the drag radials, I was shifting in a second really early to stop the spinning. I was running the Nitto NT555Rs. They hook up a lot better than street tires, but they're not a good drag radial. But I was shifting from first to second really quickly to try to mitigate the spinning. And the last time I was at the track with the drag radials on it, I went from first to third, maybe 60, 70 foot out, maybe not even that far out, and did the whole track in third gear. And didn't realize it until I was trying to shift into third gear. And right as I was trapping through the quarter, the RPM started to climb. And I knew immediately I had burnt up clutches, burnt up something. And loaded it on the trailer. I've been pretty fortunate the last few times I've taken it to the track. I've been able to drive it on the trailer. So I brought it back home. I still had third gear, but it slips really bad. Fourth gear is the same way, so I knew it was a direct drum. I replaced the clutches in the direct drum with Alto clutches, the 7-pack, I believe, 7 or 8, and took it to the track. And third gear is still slipping. Actually, it's not slipping, it doesn't work. And I've rebuilt the transmission enough times. Don't get me wrong, I'm human, I mess up, but I don't believe I messed anything up. I think because I've reused the direct drum so many times, I think it's heat treated. I think it actually broke, because when you put it in third gear, it's got a manual. That's another thing that's changed. It's got a trans brake in it now with a manual valve body, Freddie Brown valve body. But when you put it in third gear, you hear a clinking, like ching, 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 ching. Every once in a while to catch and work. Most of the time it won't. So I don't think the clutches are bad. So I ordered a new kit actually just come out from Alto. I didn't even know. It's a direct drum, an output shaft, and something else. I'll have to look at it. And I'll be putting a video up when I rebuild the transmission. But it's all new internals. It doesn't include the input shaft or anything, but it's just all new internals for the rear for third and fourth. So I'm gonna be putting those in. The new direct drum came with clutches in it, but I want to pull mine out and see if the clutches, I hope to God, clutches I put in there weren't bad because they were brand new. If the clutches that I put in there are still good, I'll put them in the new drum. If not, I'm just going to leave the clutches that are in the drum in it. But the car's doing fantastic. On the Nittos, I went from running a 2.0 60 foot was probably my best. I say that my best 60 foot on the Nittos was a 177, but that was launching in second gear. That was when the transmission was broke. It broke a snap ring for the second gear and overrid first gear, so it was locked in second gear, so I could get on the trans brake in first gear, even though it was actually second gear. And was launching in second, going second, third, so it was essentially a power glide. And I cut a 177 60 foot, but that was leaving in second gear. And then I put these Hoosier road course slicks on. Didn't realize they were road course slicks when I bought them. Just wanted to try slicks, so I bought a set of used slicks that somebody was advertising as drag slicks. Didn't pay very much for them, so I'm not too mad. But I wanted to try out a set of slicks to see how they were gonna, because I do a lot of street driving on my car. I've got to get another set of rims, put the drag radials back on so I can street drive it. Yeah, and so I wanted to try the slicks, see how the slicks were gonna work. Realized after I put them, actually right before I put them on the rims, I realized they seemed really hard. The sidewalls on them seemed really hard, so I looked up the part number for them and found out that they were actually road course slicks. Went ahead and put them on anyways, and they make worlds of difference. They're taller and wider, so that the gear ratio change could be what it is. But they make a huge difference. I went from cutting 2.0 60 foots to now my best 60 foot so far is a 159, which still isn't great. You'll see in the upcoming videos, you'll see the change. You'll hear the change. I'll try to include descriptions in the video as it plays as to where motor changes and stuff was made. Because these are, I haven't put a video out in a long time, I apologize. But I went from old motor, drag radials, to new motor with the drag radials, then new motor with the slicks. I wish to God I would have tried these slicks on the old motor. I've had them for a while. Just honestly didn't feel like putting them on. I changed them myself. And just didn't feel like doing it. I wish I would have, because I think I would have ran a very, very, very good time on the old motor. But you'll see the changes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've changed. I've put a new cooling fan on it. Temperatures are doing really good. I've updated a lot of small stuff. I'm mainly changing stuff, and I hate to say it, but I'm doing stuff right. The car was thrown together. I built the car from the bottom up. I think I've said that before. But the car was thrown together, and now I'm just trying to fix stuff and do stuff right. I've put the battery box in the back. I put the cutoff switch in the back. I ran all new power wires from the rear to the front. I ran the alternator wire with a 4 gauge from the front all the way to the battery. I got rid of my starter solenoid and put a power distribution block there, and now my keyed ignition switch goes straight to the starter because it's got a mini torque starter on it. And actually, sitting in my truck in the passenger seat, I've got a Power Master starter to put on it. I did the shifter. I've just rewired a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to do stuff right. Get the car. Look, I know the car's not the prettiest in the world. It really needs a paint job. The interior really needs to be cleaned. But I pieced it together when I got it. It had no interior in it. It had seats and a dash, and even was missing a lot of dash pieces. It had carpet and a headliner, and everything else I put in it. I didn't have no rear seats, didn't have any of the plastics, didn't have door panels. Console, it was missing all of that. It was missing everything. It only had, I say that, it had front seats, didn't have rear seats. Had none of the plastics. Had no motor, but I got a motor with it. It was a 5.0. I daily drove this car for a while with a 5.0 in it. It was a fantastic street car. Had a 5-speed in it. Now it's got a 4R70W in it, with a manual valve body. I got a new torque converter in it. I went from a stock V6 torque converter to a FTI torque converter, and then to a packed performance torque converter, which made world of difference. I went from a stock to a 2600, and now it's got a it's supposed to be a 3500, but I'm stalling it to $4,000. At $4,000, I make about well, it depends on where I've got the boost regulator at. I control my boost with the Holley, but I use PWM. I don't use CO2 or air. But I've gotten it all the way up to 17 pounds launching, and you'll see that in this video. My last time out at the track, I was playing with it, and my last 2 runs, I had it turned up way too high. I've got to find out how I can control my boost while I'm on the trans brake, keep the boost down, but then when I let go of the trans brake, it lets the boost come up. It's really easy to do when you're using CO2, because you can actually set a trans brake target. Because I'm using PWM on just an output, I change the PWM through the whole map. And maybe I can show you while I'm doing it at the track one time. But I changed the PWM on the whole map, and because my car stalls up to $4,000, I don't want to change it just from $4,000 up, because I want it actually comes into full boost lower than $4,000. So I've got to see if, I'm sure there's an output. There's something I can do, I'm sure, so that when I hit the trans brake, it targets a certain PWM, and then when I let off the trans brake, it targets a different PWM. I'm sure there's something I can do to do that. And then I've just been changing a lot in the rear end. It's got new springs in the rear end. I got rid of the lowering springs that were in it when I bought it. I put solid upper and lowers in it with solid bushings too. And then I haven't done much in the front. I want to put a tubular K-member in it. I really do want to put skinnies on the front. It's got 8-inch wide tires now. I really want to go to skinnies. I think it'd make a world of difference. Weight wise, it's a full interior car. I'm not going to change that. It is a street car. I do drive it on the street. I'd love to put power steering back in it, but I think I'm just going to put a manual rack in it. But lots of update videos to come, guys. I apologize. I've had a lot going on at work. I work at a pretty big warehouse. And we've been doing turnovers and stuff like that. If you work in construction, you understand. Been really busy. I have been going to the track a lot. Been getting a lot of videos going to the track. Have not been getting a lot of videos of working on the car because every time I work on it, I'm rushing. And the last time I did the transmission, I did it in a night. Thursday night at that. Got it put back together. Well, Wednesday night. Got it put back together Thursday. Test drove it Thursday afternoon. And then loaded it up Friday to go to the track. I've got a video coming up. I got to pull the transmission back out. I want to put this starter in. I got a shifter handle I want to put in. The shifter handle that came with the B&M didn't have a button on it. Obviously, I need a button for my trans brake and my 2-step. So I got to put this shifter in. I'll get videos of all that stuff. I'll get an update video of the inside of the car with the cage in it. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is a cage and it is put in correct. It's got, yeah, just a lot of update. I'll put a video out when I start working on the car. But enjoy the rest of the video. This is the past few times I've been to the track. I can try to include times. The last 2 times I went to the track, I was only running 1st and 2nd gear because I didn't have 3rd, 4th. So the last 2 times I went to the track, really, I've only been working on my 60-foot, my 330. I do run it all the way out of 2nd gear. My fastest time, with only 1st and 2nd gear, my fastest time is actually pretty good. I've run low 7s, 7.3 at 81 miles an hour. And that's not even being able to go in 3rd gear. That's letting out well before the 8th. So I have a feeling I'm running in the 6s if I can run all the way through. And judging by my time slips compared with the time I did run in the 6s, my 330 is actually faster. Obviously, because my 60-foot's a lot faster. So I think I am running in the 6s. I'm shooting for 5s. I don't know if it's going to happen, guys. Not on these stock motors. I'm doing everything I can to get it there. I'm running 85. I'm pushing these things really hard. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on the stock motor. And if I can't, I'm not that worried about it, to be honest. I'm trying, but I can only do what I can. I know there's people with 302s that are running a lot faster than me. But what everybody's got to keep in mind is 302s come with stock forged pistons. I'm not even running hyper pistons. I'm running cast pistons. I've replaced a lot of them. It does not take very much when you're running high boost. A little hiccup, a little air bubble that gets into a fuel injector and makes one cylinder run lean, and you blow these pistons apart. I've replaced a ton of them. I'm trying. I've redone my fuel system. I've redone fuel lines. I put a booster pump in it. It's got a big fuel pump in it. I'm not running out of fuel, at least not according to my computer. I was before, but it wasn't the pump and it wasn't the injectors. It was my fuel line. I was still running on the stock fuel line, so I ran a new fuel line up to the front. Made a world of difference. I bought the booster pump at the same time I bought the fuel line just to be safe, and everything's good there. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. I'll have update videos coming out, and like I said, as I'm playing the video, I will try to include what changed each time I was at the track, and enjoy.
It's empty enough now.